Despite the fact that ancient Romans lived 2000 years ago, they were not that different from us. That is why in today's episode I would like to cover the origins of ancient Rome's wealth and analyze the standards of living that the citizens as well as non-citizens of this vast empire enjoyed. Though it is not possible to calculate the gross domestic product of ancient Rome with accuracy, as the concept of GDP did not exist during that time, several estimates claim that the Roman Empire had a per capita income of around $500 to $1,000 during the period of 1 to 100 AD. This estimate is based on data on the size of the Roman economy, as well as estimates of the population at the time. The Roman economy was based on agriculture, with most people working as farmers or herders. However, the empire also had a thriving mining industry, producing gold, silver, and other valuable metals. In addition, Rome had a sophisticated system of roads and waterways that enabled trade to take place across vast distances. The Romans were skilled farmers, and they developed many agricultural practices and technologies that are still used today. The main crops grown by the Romans were grains, such as wheat and barley, as well as grapes and olives for making wine and olive oil. Other crops included vegetables such as beans, lentils, and cabbage, and fruits such as apples, pears, and figs. The Romans also developed a sophisticated system of irrigation and crop rotation, which allowed them to cultivate crops more efficiently and increase yields. They used tools such as plows, sickles, and threshing machines to aid in planting, harvesting, and processing crops. The Romans also raised livestock, including cattle, sheep, and pigs, and used manure from these animals as fertilizers for their crops. They also practiced beekeeping to produce honey and wax. Land ownership was important in ancient Rome, and the large estates known as latifundia were owned by wealthy landowners who employed tenant farmers to work the land. Slaves were also used in agriculture, particularly in the production of olives and grapes. In the Roman Empire, the regions that produced the most grain were North Africa, Egypt, and the regions surrounding the Black Sea. These regions were also known as the breadbaskets of the empire, and their grain production was critical for feeding the growing population of Rome and its vast armies. Egypt in particular was known for producing high-quality wheat, which was highly valued throughout the empire. The Nile River, which flowed through Egypt, provided the necessary irrigation for agriculture, and the fertile soil along its banks was well suited for growing crops. Trade was an essential part of the Roman economy, with goods moving both domestically and internationally. The empire traded with regions as far away as India and China. Trade between ancient Rome, India, and China was a significant part of the global economy during the classical period. The Silk Road, a network of trade routes that connected the Mediterranean world with Asia, played a crucial role in facilitating this trade. The Romans imported luxury goods such as silk, spices, and precious stones from India and China, while they exported items such as wool and glassware to these regions. The trade was conducted through a series of intermediary merchants, and the goods were transported by land and sea. India was a major source of luxury goods for the Romans, including spices such as pepper, cinnamon, and ginger, as well as textiles such as cotton and silk. Indian textiles were particularly prized, as they were used to make expensive garments and furnishings. China was another important trading partner for the Romans, who imported silk, porcelain, and other luxury goods. Silk was particularly valuable, and it was used to make expensive clothing and furnishings. The Romans also admired Chinese art and technology. The trade between Rome, India, and China had a significant impact on the global economy and helped to foster cultural exchange and innovation. It also led to the spread of new ideas, technologies, and religions, including Buddhism and Christianity. The Roman Empire was also a slave-based economy, with many people forced to work in mines, fields, and households. Slavery played a significant role in the Roman economy, providing a source of cheap labor for many industries. The Roman Empire grew to become the largest empire of ancient world through a combination of military conquest, political alliances, and cultural assimilation. At its height, the Roman Empire encompassed most of the Mediterranean world, including parts of Europe, Africa, and Middle East. The process of expansion began in the 3rd century BC, when Rome started to expand its territory beyond the Italian peninsula. One of the key factors in the Roman Empire's success was its military power. The Roman army was a highly disciplined and organized fighting force that was able to conquer and maintain control over vast territories. The Romans also employed a policy of assimilation, whereby conquered people were allowed to retain some of their customs and traditions, while also adopting Roman culture and ways of life. This helped to create a sense of unity and loyalty among the diverse peoples within the empire. Another important factor was the political organization of the Roman Empire. Rome developed a system of government that combined elements of democracy, aristocracy, and monarchy, known as the Roman Republic. This system allowed for the effective administration and governments of the vast territories under Roman control. It also enabled Rome to create alliances with other nations. Finally, the Roman Empire benefited from a sophisticated infrastructure, including an extensive network of roads, aqueducts, and public buildings. The infrastructure facilitated trade and commerce, which helped to drive the economy of the empire and strengthen its political and military power. According to most estimates, the population of the Roman Empire peaked at around 60 million people during the 2nd century AD. The majority of the population lived in rural areas, and only a small percentage lived in cities such as Rome and Alexandria. The population of the Roman Empire was diverse and included people of various ethnicities, languages, and religions. The majority of the population was made up of free citizens, but there were also large populations of slaves and non-citizens. The decline of the Roman Empire in the 4th and 5th century AD was accompanied by decline in population due to various factors, including epidemics, warfare, economic instability, and political fragmentation. By the end of the 5th century AD, the population of the empire had decreased significantly, and the Western Roman Empire collapsed. At the height of the Roman Empire, the majority of the population lived in poverty or near-poverty conditions, with only a small percentage of the population enjoying great wealth and privilege. The wealthiest citizens were the aristocracy, who owned large estates and vast amounts of land. They were able to accumulate wealth through agriculture, trade, and other sources of income. The middle class in ancient Rome was relatively small, consisting of skilled artisans, merchants, and some professionals, such as lawyers and doctors. They enjoyed a modest standard of living, but their income and wealth were still far below that of aristocracy. The lower class in ancient Rome was the largest and included slaves, laborers, and the urban poor. These people had little or no wealth and lived in some standard housing conditions. Many of them depended on government handouts, such as free grain, to survive. In ancient Rome, citizenship was initially granted only to free-born male citizens of Rome. This meant that women, slaves, and non-Romans were not eligible for citizenship. However, over time, the criteria for citizenship expanded to include a wider range of people. During the Roman Republic, citizenship was granted to those who had made significant contributions to the city of Rome, such as military service or other forms of public service. This allowed non-Romans who had made important contributions to Rome to become citizens. Under the Roman Empire, citizenship was extended to some non-Romans, including the inhabitants of the provinces that had been incorporated into the empire. This was done in part to promote royalty and unity within the empire. During the reign of Emperor Caracalla in the 3rd century AD, citizenship was granted to all free-born men in the empire, regardless of their ethnicity or place of birth. Ancient Greece had a profound influence on ancient Rome. Besides language and literature, ancient Greece also contributed to the following phenomena: religion and mythology. The Romans borrowed many of their religious beliefs and mythological stories from the Greeks. Art and architecture. The Romans were inspired by Greek art and architecture and even borrowed and adapted Greek designs. For example, the Romans were known for the use of columns, which they adapted from Greek architecture. Greek sculpture also had a significant influence on Roman art. Philosophy. The Romans were heavily influenced by Greek philosophy, particularly the works of Plato and Aristotle. Politics. The Romans were influenced by the political system of the Greeks, particularly the Athenian democracy. While the Roman Republic was not a direct democracy, it did borrow some elements of the Athenian system, such as the use of elected officials and the concept of citizenship. Ancient Rome was a civilization that made significant contributions to the development of technology and engineering. Some of the inventions and innovations attributed to ancient Rome include aqueducts. Rome built an extensive network of aqueducts, which brought fresh water from distant sources to the city. These aqueducts used gravity to transport water over long distances and were crucial for supplying the city's growing population. Concrete. Rome developed a unique type of concrete that was more durable than any other known at that time. Roads. Rome built an extensive network of roads throughout its empire. These roads were well constructed and allowed for efficient transportation of goods and people across vast distances. The Arc. The Romans developed the arc, which allowed for the construction of larger, more complex buildings. The arc was also used in aqueducts, bridges, and other engineering projects. The Julian calendar. The Romans developed the Julian calendar, which was a precursor to the modern Gregorian calendar. The Julian calendar was more accurate than previous calendars and was used throughout the Roman Empire. Public baths. The Romans developed public bath houses that were used for socializing, relaxing, and hygiene. These bathhouses were sophisticated engineering projects that required complex heating and plumbing systems. Surgical instruments. Ancient Rome was home to many skilled physicians who developed a variety of surgical instruments, including forceps, scalpels, and bone saws. The collapse of the Roman Empire was a complex event with a variety of factors contributing to its decline. Here are some of the key factors that historians commonly point to. Economic troubles. The Roman Empire faced a number of economic challenges in its last years, including inflation, taxation, and a decline in trade. This made it difficult for the government to maintain its vast military and infrastructure. Military overreach. Rome's military was one of the most powerful in the world, but it was also incredibly expensive to maintain. As the empire expanded, the cost of keeping troops stationed in far-flung regions became unsustainable. Political instability. In the later years of the Roman Empire, there was a great deal of political instability and infighting. This made it difficult for the government to function effectively and for leaders to make decisions that were in the best interest of the empire as a whole. Barbarian invasions. The Roman Empire faced repeated invasions by barbarian tribes from the north and the east. While the Romans were able to repel many of these attacks, the constant pressure took a toll on the empire's resources and weakened its military. Although such assumption sounds biased, numerous scholars also name the decline in moral values and public health. As the Roman Empire became more wealthy and comfortable, its citizens became more decadent and less disciplined. This led to a decline in moral values and public health, which made it difficult for the empire to maintain its social cohesion and productivity. The legacy of the Roman Empire is vast and far-reaching, and its influence can still be seen in many aspects of modern society. Here are a few examples. Law and government. The Roman Empire was known for its sophisticated legal system and its contributions to the development of modern government. The concept of the rule of law, the use of written constitutions, and the creation of a centralized bureaucracy all have roots in Roman law and governments. Language. Latin was the official language of the Roman Empire, and it continues to influence modern languages, particularly those of Western Europe. Architecture. The Romans were renowned for their engineering and architectural achievements, including the construction of aqueducts, roads, and public buildings. Many of these structures still exist today and continue to inspire modern architects and engineers. Art and literature. Roman art and literature, including epic poetry, drama, and historical writing, continue to be studied and admired today. Roman influence can be seen in the works of later writers and artists, such as Shakespeare, who drew on Roman history and mythology in his plays. Christianity. The Roman Empire was a major center of early Christianity, and the spread of Christianity throughout the empire had a profound impact on Western culture and society. Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, check out my channel to find more cool videos on history, geography and wealth, or basically how history and geography define wealth.